Well, people, we made it. The draft is less than a week away. What will the Tennessee Titans do at number 1? And what will the Tennessee Titans do with pick 35? Good evening to you, peeps. What is happening? Here it is, late Friday night, 10:12 Eastern time is exactly what it is. So I'm a little sleepy, and Josiah's got his coffee with him. And we're ready to have us a fantastic episode. I would like to thank our sponsors today.
We have sponsors?
I'm already done thanking them because at the moment we don't have any. So if anybody wants to sponsor somebody, pick me. All right. I am your host, Gabriel Pilcher, joined as always by me little brother, Josiah Pilcher.
How's it going, fellas? How's it going? Draft day is upon us.
Yes, that's true. You said fellas, but there might be some ladies watching the channel as well.
True.
Doubtful. Actually, sometimes I'll check out my video analytics, and it's usually 100% male audience, which is perfectly fine to me. All right. But that being said, we're just going to ramble like we normally do. We don't do much planning, and we don't do a whole lot of staying on task. We're really bad about that. So basically, we're talking draft. We were talking draft. We took a brief hiatus because I was on a 8-day cruise, so we missed actually 2 weekends because of that.
Lucky.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Hate that I had to come back, but at least we came back with some exciting football type stuff. So let's go ahead and just jump right in it. Tennessee Titans. It's no mystery anymore. Used to, there was all the trade down talks, like the Titans are going to trade down 2 with the Browns, 3 to the Giants, or maybe they'll even go back farther and get a nice haul for picks. And then they met with Cam Ward. And then when they met with Cam Ward, that just changed everything. They fell in love with the kid. And it's one of the worst kept secrets. Tennessee Titans are going to be taking Cameron Ward with the number 1 overall pick in the 2025 draft. Your thoughts?
It's it's funny. When the season ended, that's 100% what I wanted to do is get Cam Ward or Shadir Sanders, to be honest. But I wanted a quarterback, and then somehow I kind of convinced myself that this team, we just need picks, and we got a lot of issues, which we do have. And so I almost convinced myself that I just wanted the picks, trade back. But now we got, it looks like you said, we'll get Cam Ward. There's no question about it. But the thing is, I'm excited about it. It'd be nice. It's going to add some excitement to this franchise that desperately needs it. The only thing I have to say, though, is this receiving core is pathetic, and it's awful that this is what we want to go into the season with. I mean, we'll see if we address it in the draft, obviously. But as it stands, it's nice to have Cam Ward, but he's got nothing to throw to. So that's going to suck for Cam Ward.
Yeah. There's always the weird small chance that the Titans don't end up taking Cam Ward, and it'll be so weird, but it shouldn't be that weird because I feel like last draft season, all Titans coverage and all we even personally talked about was, should we go with our mind, Joe Alt, or should we go with our gut, Malik Neighbors? Joe Alt or Malik Neighbors, and they went pick 5 and 6 right in front of us. So almost all of our draft talk was useless. J.C. Latham, at least for me personally, was never on the radar. Yeah. Most people had J.C. Latham like mid-first round.
I will say, though, one thing is that Titans have the number 1 pick, so there's no chance anyone getting drafted that we want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And just all indications are Titans are taking Cam Ward. So it just would be kind of funny if all we've done is
do Malik Neighbors or Joe Alt. I don't think you could go wrong with either of those two.
No, they're both fantastic in their roles, and it hurts my heart. J.C. Latham was fine, but Joe Alt was like borderline Pro Bowl in his first season, and Malik Neighbors had 1,300 yards or something. I don't remember what it was, but
really good.
And he had nobody throwing him the football either. So imagine what he's going to do if even with washed Russell Wilson, you would think he'd be able to put even better numbers. But
anyway,
we digress. We digress. So it's looking like it's going to be Cam Ward. I just thought it was funny. I know we talked about this briefly in our last video from a couple weeks ago. I was like, I don't want to do quarterback. Now at this point, I had done no research on either of them. I was like, they're saying Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are probably late first round, early second round value type quarterbacks, but they're going to be picked higher just simply because it's a weak quarterback class. I don't want a quarterback this year. I want us to trade back, get more picks, get Abdul Carter. This is what I want. Let's do it. And you were like, you weren't really a Cam Ward guy either. You're like, Shedeur Sanders no matter what. And you're like, Shedeur Sanders no matter what. And then as things started happening, people started really diving into the Cam Ward tape and the Shedeur Sanders tape. I got to myself where I was like, oh, but I kind of like the idea of Shedeur Sanders. Ooh, we'd actually have some spotlight on us. But then as everybody kept doing the film study, Shedeur Sanders' stock just started dropping. And then that's when you started becoming much more open, in fact, possibly preferring the trade down. But then I started seeing all the quarterbacks in free agency just get picked right out. And it got to a point where I'm like, so do we go Russell Wilson? Are we giving Will Levis another shot? And I was like, I would rather just draft any quarterback than have another Will Levis season. So as time went on, me and you just kind of flipped and we waved at each other on the way by, where then you became team trade down. And then as people started doing real deep studies saying, yeah, Cam Ward's worthy of the number 1 overall pick, I have officially switched my stance. I want us to go get Cam Ward, but I also don't want us to feel the need to play him 5 years before making a decision. I say play him 2 years minimum, but if 2 years in, he's just hot garbage, reset, draft another quarterback, try again. But for now, I am Team Cam.
Yeah, and I hope Cam Ward works out. And there's a potential, though. One thing that kind of confuses me a little bit is that you're right. When the season ended, most people, I mean, most experts would be like, Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward's not worthy of a first-round pick. They're going to be picked there, but they're really more of a second-round quarterback. And then without another game being played, now everyone's like, "Oh, Cam Ward's amazing." I just was reading a mock draft of saying this guy could have elite career, and I'm like, without even playing a game, how did this guy go from he's a second round quarterback to now he's going to be an elite quarterback? I hope he is if we draft him. But how did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. That was really weird to me. Very weird.
Every draft does that, but sometimes it works well. Stocks go up, and sometimes the stocks go down. But I'm like, I think sometimes we pay too much attention to. We do in scouting combine and pro days and stuff. As I think Mike Tomlin says, a lot of times, a lot of people can look good in t-shirts and shorts, but it's just and people can look good in that. But then, like, what does the game tape says? Because the game tape should be the exact same things it was when the season ended because he hasn't put anything else out. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to put Cam Ward down at all, but I'm just like, what changed? Why is he now a great quarterback when he ended the season he wasn't in the experts' eyes?
I mean, now that we're going to be picking him 99.9%, yeah, I'd absolutely hope they're right. So Cam Ward all the way. I will say it is going to be a little bit exciting because Tides have been so bad for so long now. It's technically not that long, but it feels like it's been a long time. And it's just going to be exciting having a quarterback that's, an exciting young, supposed to be top of the draft or top of the class coming out.
I would say even when we was good with Vrabel, we had Ryan Tannehill. So we it's been a long time since we had our young quarterback that we drafted. You know what I mean? He's past his bedtime.
I'm so hard to hide that yawn. But yeah, I mean, I agree. And like even Will Levis, like I really rallied around him and was hoping for the best. But the dude slid in the first round or out of round 4 a reason. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Cam Ward and Cam Ward is going to be the number 1 pick, and that's basically been known for over a month now. It's just whether the Titans were going to pick him number 1 or they're going to trade it with somebody else and they get him at number 1. So just getting the consensus best quarterback in that class, it's going to create a little excitement around Tennessee. It's going to give us something to watch, even if we end up being hot, smelly garbage again.
I just hope we have enough around him to succeed. I don't want him just completely destroy his confidence because we got nothing to throw to. I think eventually our O-line is going to be good, in my opinion.
One day, right?
What did you say?
I said one day.
Well, I think it's a decent right now, but the problem is it takes usually a while for the O line to gel. But I like it. I think it's gonna be. I'm not gonna say top 5 or anything. Maybe not even top 10. But I think it's gonna be okay. Our running game is decent, not great, but decent. But that receiving core is pathetic. And I Calvin Ridley to me is a better 2 than 1, and he's our number 1 receiver. And behind him, we got nothing, absolutely nothing. And it just actually annoys me. It's like I know the wide receiver list out there, the free agency is not great, but I'll take Amari Cooper over nobody. You know what I mean? And I doubt Amari Cooper right now is asking for $20 million. Nothing like that. So I'm like, bring him in.
Sadly, I think Spotrac has him just barely under that, like 17 million. But at the same time, yeah.
That's pathetic.
But I mean, yeah, it's kind of unnecessary, especially when you had a big time down year last year.
Mm-hmm.
But we have money, so I don't
we
care because we gotta get somebody for Cam Ward to throw to.
Bring in a quarterback. It's your duty to make sure he has the tools to succeed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you did a good job of rebuilding. We're not gonna say it's gonna be a success because I've learned my lesson there. But we rebuilt the offensive line. Running backs are still fine. Tight ends are still fine. They are what they are. But that wide receiver core is straight up pathetic.
Pathetic. I think you could clean up and then go and actually be better than some of those receivers.
I could make the roster as a Tennessee Titans wide receiver with the crop they have right now. But that brings us, I guess, to pick number 2. Or I guess the second round's really not pick number 2, but you know what I mean. Pick 35. What do you want to happen there? Are you wanting to stick and pick? Are you wanting to trade back in the second round? Or is it depending on who's there? And if it depends on who's there, then I'm going to have to play a little game with you.
It, I guess, depends on who's there. But if we want to trade back, I don't want to trade ridiculously high, like farther back, in my opinion. But I guess ultimately, I don't say it depends on who's there.
All right. I can't quit yawning, man. This is like the 4th one in this video. All right. So if we're going to stick and pick. Actually, I mean, here's the game. I'm going to say pick them, trade back. Which would you prefer? Edge rusher, James Pierce.
James Pierce from Tennessee?
A lot of people have him sliding to the second.
I would want to pick him. I like him a lot. I watched every game of his. I like him.
Okay. How about Emeka Egbuka? Even though a lot of folk are saying there's no way he slides, there's just enough mock drafts out there have him sliding to the second round to make you be like, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I would pick him. He's worthy of us. Like pick 35, I would probably pick him.
I mean, yeah, especially since he's probably going at like pick 19.
Well, yeah. You're right.
All right, and then what about Luther Burden?
Yeah, yes, I would pick him.
Okay. I should have wrote down more names because I just kind of came up with this on the spot. And I'll go ahead and stop there and tell you what my opinion is.
Okay.
Because those 3 names I just said, edge rusher James Pierce, Emeka Egbuka, or Luther Burden. If we're sticking and picking, it has to be one of those 3 for me. Or just some other name that should have been a first-round pick that some reason slid. And it has to be one of those positions. I know you're not supposed to draft for need. They say you draft for the future. But we have to get either an edge or a wide receiver in the second round. If we sit there and do like we did in 2022, now he ended up being a fine player, but we had all these needs in 2022, and then we picked Roger McCreary out of nowhere. And we're all like, huh? Roger McCreary, cornerback? We just went him almost a first-round pick on a cornerback? And we didn't even think that was a huge need. Like, they caught everybody off guard. If we do something like that, if some really good linebacker falls to the second round, we pick a linebacker at 35, and we suddenly have no starting edge rushers and 1 starting wide receiver, I'm going to be upset. So that being said, for me, it has to be James Pierce, Luther Burden, or Emeka Egbuka. I don't even know if I'm saying that name right, but that's how I say it. It has to be one of those 3 at 35. But I'm also very strongly opinionated here. If it's not one of those 3 or somebody who's way, more talented than them that somehow fall, then I need a trade back. Because the last thing I want us to probably do is if we stick at 35 and then really reach on somebody.
Yeah, that would be the worst case scenario for sure. I agree with
Yeah.
that. I think I actually kind of agree with the analysis, though. You're not going to hear me complain. I agree with that. We have to get an edge or wide receiver. Like, really, our edge and wide receivers is not even an NFL roster position group right now, how pathetic it is. It's
No.
beyond, oh, that's a weak position group right now. It's like pathetic. So I agree with that. I agree with that. Those three I would stick and pick. And I from what I've heard, listen to people that covers the Titans, it does sound like Titans do want some more day 2 picks. And to do that, you trade back. So that is a real possibility for the Titans. What I would rather do is get someone at pick 35. And this is all depends on who's available. If we can, with pick 35, get one of those three names, that is what ultimately I would want to do. But like you said, as soon as those three or anyone else that got first round grade that dropped down to 35, if no one's like that available, I completely agree with you. Like, trade back. Don't like you say, don't give us a great safety at 35. Don't give us a good linebacker at 35. We don't. That'll be so underwhelming.
Yeah. Or like a right guard that fell and he can sit behind Kevin Zeitler this season and then be the starter next year.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Pick 35 and we get it somebody who's supposed to not play a single snap all year.
Yeah.
Perfect. My draft crush that I really want us to get is Luther.
You have one every year.
I do. And there's usually a high percentage that happens. Because in 2015, it was Marcus Mariota. In 2017, it was Corey Davis. In 2018, it was Harold Landry. And I think that might be the last one that I had a draft crush on that we got. But still, it was happening pretty frequently there for a little while. But this year, it's Luther Burden. Because he's got a first round talent, and there's some off field issues, not even necessarily him. Apparently, they say his girlfriend's controlling, and his mother is his agent. Basically, I think that's what they said.
Yeah, I think I heard that too.
But I just seen some highlights just yesterday. I'm like, this guy it looks like he's it, as they say. Like he has the it factor. I'm like, he's just got great hands, great routes, great speed. I think it was a 4.4 flat or a 4.41 that he ran on the 40. And I'm just like, this looks like somebody that could be a number one wide receiver. And if he could come in and be a number one wide receiver, and then Calvin Ridley can be the highest of high end twos, suddenly things are looking a whole lot better. Like, can you imagine coming? Good.
But I feel like obviously even cool. It needs couples spots to be honest. Like, I think even if we get Bourne, which I like, I still say go get a veteran receiver, in my opinion, because I think right now everyone else other than those two still suck, in my opinion. Like, absolutely suck.
I mean, Colton Dowell, Jaquan Jackson, Treylon Burks, like these are just shouldn't even be on a roster. Exactly. We have Van Jefferson.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If we get Bourne, that would help a lot, but we would still have other issues.
Yeah, we would.
We need more receivers, in my opinion. But yeah,
So, but can you imagine how pumped we would be if we went to bed Friday night, being like, Cam Ward and Luther Burden. Ooh, like that would be good.
Even though the Titans would still suck, that would be a nice thing to watch throughout the season. You know what I mean?
It would be, and that's just what I want. If we end up sticking and picking, and we get like a rotational piece edge rusher at pick 35 because the edge rusher market dried up before it got to us. If we stuck and picked like pick 30 at 35 a wide receiver, but Emeka Egbuka and Luther Burden, they're all gone, and we get like a Kyle Williams or somebody like that, where I'm just like, you probably want to have been available late.
Kyle Williams, I don't think it's bad.
He's not bad, but at 35, that's a reach. Like I would be okay with him if we traded down. We traded down and got him.
Definitely okay with that.
And then now had a third round pick to go with it. But And I try to do this. I try not to do this every year where I get myself married to a name. I try not to do that because then whenever we don't get them, I get super bummed. But for now, I'm just the thought of Cam Ward to Luther Burden sounds nice.
I like that. I can't remember if I saw a mock draft or heard somebody say, like talking about how our receiver core is so bad that we should double dip. And like, would it be nice if we could get Luther Burden and I can't remember the name.
Xavier Restrepo.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if we get both of them, like that would be pretty good.
Who did I talk to about it? I feel like I might have commented on a post or something about that, but that's what I said. It was on the Titan Upload, the Power Hour stream that he did with Tyler Staggs. And I had said that. I said, get Luther Burden in the second. And if Xavier Restrepo falls because of his bad, let's be honest, bad pro day, that would be fantastic. We have Xavier Restrepo, Luther Burden, and Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. Because he has the chemistry with Cam Ward, so that would help him day one.
Yes, 100%.
Like, do I think he's going to be a 1 and maybe not even a 2? Maybe, but I think he could be a really good 3.
I completely agree with you.
He's the opposite. You have people that looks good sometimes in these pro days and stuff, scouting combined, but maybe they don't, for whatever reason on the field, they don't look so good. But people can fall in love with him because of the pro days and stuff. He's the opposite. I think he doesn't measure good in anything, honestly, but he just knows how to get open. And he puts good tape on. And to me, that's more important because you know what? On game day, he's going to be on a football field. He's not going to be wearing, a t-shirt and shorts and doing a pro day. You know what I mean?
Plus the camaraderie he has with chemistry he has with Cam Ward. So, yeah. So yeah, that would be a dream scenario if we could somehow get Burden and Restrepo, but I feel like it's very rare that teams do that. But I do remember the Titans did that in 2017, where we had gotten Corey Davis in the first round, and then Tywan Taylor with a very high round in the third round pick. He turned out garbage. No, neither of them ever got 1,000-yard season.
I actually liked the Tywan Taylor, to be honest. I thought that was going to be a sneaky good pick. He never really worked out.
He was so productive in college.
He was. Something small, something Kentucky, was Eastern Kentucky, something
like that. But he was hot garbage for us.
Yeah,
couldn't catch, right? And he tripped every time he ran?
Yes, and yes, both those.
Yeah.
Corey Davis was not a bad receiver if you got him in the second or third round.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you got him as a third round who's consistently 800, 900 yards, I would live with that. But
this is the story.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is the story with us so often. But he also had just big-time injury issues. Where if he could play a 17-game season, he would get 800 to 1,000 yards every season. But he usually only played about 12 games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's true. I would say, though, when we had him and A.J. Brown together, that is a decent 1-2 punch right there. And then Derrick Henry to hand off the ball. That's actually a really decent offense.
And that was the heyday of Jonnu Smith as well. And that's when Ryan Tannehill was playing out of his blessed mind.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was a small stretch. It was like, what, 2 years, maybe 3?
It was 2019, 2020, and then 2021, we was the number 1 seed in the AFC.
But we had a lot of injuries that year, if you remember.
That was going to say A.J. Brown only had 800 yards. That was the Julio Jones only had 400 because he was in and out of the lineup.
Derrick Henry got home.
Derrick Henry broke his foot and missed 8 games and came back to the playoffs and didn't play well because he was still hurt. And that was kind of like anticlimactic. But yeah, we had a heyday there. Those 3-year stretch, 2019. I guess 2019, you can throw that in there as well because that was the one where Marcus Mariota got benched for Tannehill and Tannehill played just insane. But there for a while, Titans were exciting to watch. I expected us to win. It was weird. I literally sat down and just expected us to win whenever we played. And even if we were playing against a top team in the NFL, I at least thought we had a shot.
Because we did.
We did. That's how you remember that Monday night game against the Bills.
That was a good game.
It came down to just quarterback sneak on the goal line on 4th down from Josh Allen. Oh, the good old days. Maybe, just maybe, we can reset with a Cam Ward because next time you and I make a video, the Cam Ward era will have officially begun.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Like I said, I hate to be a David Downer. Do I think Titans will be good this year? No, I think we're going to suck because our team still has so many issues. But just to have a new, fresh quarterback, we haven't drafted one. this early in a long time. I mean, because you have drafted Will Levis a couple years ago, but drafting the quarterback in the second round and drafting number one overall is a little bit different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's be exciting. And if nothing else, it gives us something to watch. Again, if we suck this year and we don't draft a quarterback, oh, this would be the most grueling, hard season to watch. It would be. But now we got something to talk about. Like, even if we lose, we'll probably talk about Cam Ward and what do we think about his performance. And even when you lose, you can have something to talk about. Like, we're going to suck this year, but if we lose and Cam Ward has 3 touchdowns and 0 picks, but we still lose, then there's still something to be excited about as a Titan fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're like, man, if we can just get a defense that can stop a nosebleed, or if we can just get a couple more weapons in here, imagine what this team could be like. Yeah, it gives us something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And not just that, but this will help us evaluate Cam Ward. Nope. This will that too. But yeah, Brian Callahan, because there were so many times where I thought he sucked, but there's also times that I thought he really drew some plays to get people open, and Will Levis just didn't see him. It was like, just throwing triple coverage.
Has a lot of stuff wrong with him. Like throwing picks, like forcing stuff. But vision, I think that might be one of his worst things was vision. He did not have good vision of the field and what the defense was doing. Cam Ward hopefully will be better. And yes, because I don't know. I'm not about to say Callahan was great or nothing, but I will say, because I've watched people after games talk about, well, this was a good play call by Callahan. Like, you could tell that play was designed to go to this guy, and Will Levis just didn't throw to him and just do someone else, throw a pick or something. So if Cam Ward has a better football IQ than Will Levis, maybe we'll have something here.
I don't think that's going to take very much. I think Will Levis was a smart guy, but I heard a lot of people say this. I think Will Levis was an athlete that they tried to make play quarterback.
Yeah.
Because he never knew how to play the position. You know what I'm saying? Like reading defenses, getting in and out of the huddle. Because especially at the beginning of the year, that was really not smooth at all.
Mm-mm.
We had delay games or almost delay games all the time. So just running the huddle, commanding the offense, reading the defense, seeing the field, those are things he just could not do. He could throw the ball hard, far, fast. He could throw it anywhere on the field, but he was just he wasn't a quarterback.
Nope.
So yeah, this will basically, back to what I was trying to say, is this will give us a chance to, hopefully anyway, get a gauge on Callahan to see if he's actually worth anything.
Yeah, I hope, in my humble opinion, Callahan can do just enough, at least, to keep his job. Just because I don't want Cam Ward to go to 2 different head coaches in 2 years. I hate that, and that's usually a recipe of disaster.
Yeah. So we had that going on with Marcus Mariota for a while. He went from what's the name? Wisenhunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Wisenhunt, and then he had Malarkey for 2 years, and he had Vrabel for a year and a half before he got benched. So
I don't want that to happen.
No, I do agree with you. I almost feel like, unless he's just hot garbage, like Urban Meyer's garbage, like if he's like Urban Meyer's, get rid of him. Otherwise, I feel like you have to roll with Callahan for 2 seasons.
Like you said, unless we go 2-15 and some of those losses because he just made a boneheaded, like, what are you doing decision,
or just doing like he did a little bit last year where it's like we just kept running. I know Will Levis was terrible.
He did do that.
We're running a lot. Like, we're doing Derrick Henry numbers as far as,
and we don't have Derrick. Yes, you're right. Yeah, actually, now you mentioned it, he did do that a lot. It was just every first down, you knew he was going to hit the ball. You just knew it. And like Tajay Spears, nope, well, him too, I guess. But Tony Pollard's not Derrick Henry. What are you doing?
And his body broke down at the end of the season too. Tony Pollard's did.
That's because he did. I remember he did the same thing with Dallas in one season when they tried to make him the number 1 back. He kind of, as the season went on, got worse and worse. That's not who he is. So we do need to find ways to split the ball carries with him, or just not run the ball as much. One of the.
I'd be okay with both. Yeah, if we could do both, that'd be fantastic, in my opinion. All right, so official prediction before we get on out of here, since it's been almost a half hour already. Let's do official predictions of what you think is going to happen with pick 1 and pick 2.
Okay.
The floor is yours. Ladies first.
Pick 1, Cam Ward. That probably doesn't surprise you.
Ooh.
Then pick 2, what I want overall is Luther. Nope. Luther.
Yeah, Luther Burden.
Yeah, Luther Burden. Thank you. But I'm gonna go on a limb here, and I'm gonna say that we're going to eventually trade back the 35. And then at that point, I'm not sure where we trade to, so I'm not gonna say a name.
Right.
But I say we trade back. They're gonna trade back because this. I feel like they really want more than one pick on day 2.
They certainly do. That being said,
that's not what I want, but that's what I feel.
Copy that.
You?
Cam Ward in the first. I think that's pretty obvious. And the second, I'm just going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say the dreams really do come true.
Okay, you've stick.
I am going to say Luther Burden falls to pick 35, and the Titans pair Cam Ward with Burden.
I would like that, buddy. I would like that.
Yeah.
You and I usually disagree on a lot of stuff, but I think this our draft and
analyzing.
Yeah, it's basically the same right now. What we want, we
were lockstep with Levis. We were both very unhappy with our Levis pick, and then we both like, all right, let's give him a shot. And then we're both like, oh, he's hot garbage. So we were lockstep there.
We was not happy with that Will Levis pick, and turned out we was right.
Turns out we were right. The old Austin Stanley rule: if a quarterback sucks in college, he will not be good in the NFL.
Yeah, what made us think that he's gonna be good in the NFL? I don't understand that.
Guess because he's a good-looking fellow with some nice arms.
He can do some modeling after his career, I guess.
Yep, selling more mayo perfume, cologne, whatever. Stupid. Yeah, I'm kind of glad in a lot of ways that era's over. Kind of. I'm glad the era's over, but then I also stopped and thought, we were so excited about him. Like, do you remember when he was playing ping pong against Trevor Lawrence in the offseason? And everyone's like, oh, look what competitor Will Levis is. Oh, he's so cool. He's so fun. And everyone's like, and just so quickly, he's just. He
was more than just bad. He was stupid. And he just did stupid stuff. And that's the quickest way to get out of there. And the quickest way to get fans like, oh, I want nothing to do with you.
Yeah. I mean, Colin Cowherd, I don't agree with a lot of things he says, and I don't even watch him. I just saw a clip on Twitter that someone shared because he actually picked the over on the Titans over and under and win totals because they had the Titans set at 5.5 for the season. And he's like, on this one, I'm picking Titans to go over 5.5 wins because Will Levis lost him at least 3 games on his own. So 3 games, they win 6. I'll take the over. And then they start talking about somebody else. I'm like, you might be on something there, buddy. He probably did lose
the first game for sure. We should have won. The Jets game we could have won,
but he did to scramble and then get hit and jump in the air and go and throw it backwards at Tajay Spears.
Stupid.
And then Brian Callahan lost his temper, but I was fully on board with what Brian Callahan was saying.
Yeah, I think Payne was saying that too.
I think Will Levis was probably saying it to himself in his head, like, "What am I doing?" It's so stupid. Then, of course, Murray started off the Dolphins game where he just throws an interception right to that guy right in his face.
He did.
And he was like, I didn't see him at all. I'm like, glad you're admitting that on high def TV. Oh, mercy. He was so fun to
make fun of. He was so
fun to make fun of. Like, let's be honest, he is in a lot of ways almost like a Jameis Winston, Ryan Fitzpatrick, where you're like, you might not be good, but I love watching you play. But it's just not
on my team. But
right, just not on my team. Like, I really wish he was the quarterback for like the Cardinals or something. So we can see whatever Will Levis meme is next. Because, we're going to miss the memes, but I am not going to miss that fella on the field for the Titans. So, got anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No, I think that's it, my friend.
All right, buddy. Next time we talk, we'll be talking some Cam Ward. And then we'll probably do a very short live, like a 5-minute live, because we're going to be a draft party. So we're going to do a super short live. And then we'll probably do one on Saturday night, I would assume. Saturday night, because that way our draft will be complete. But next time you hear from us, we'll be talking about Cam Ward officially being the pick, right?
Yep. That's exciting.
It is. Got anything else you want to say before I wrap this whole thing up, put our bow on her?
No, so.
Okay. So that being said, tighten up. Thanks for joining us. Like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And we will see y'all on Thursday night. Peace out.